On the Six for Sixer podcast, what we do is we analyze the game in 6 points. Sometimes, and even today, we might need to go overtime today because I started out with, usually when we get a win, we talking good stuff, and so I had a bunch of good points, especially at the half, but then it all kind of soured toward the end of the third and really in the fourth quarter. So it's going to be a mix of points. We might go into overtime, but make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Since we're going live on Facebook, but also join up with the YouTube page, which is the Six for Sixers on YouTube. And of course, there's the Facebook page, Six for Sixers, for true Sixer fans. Only intelligent Sixer fans come up in here. Our numbers are low, but we mighty because we do a lot of screening. Everybody can't just click join and come up in the group. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Yes, sir. Listen, gotta keep it high level.
Yeah, so we got two entry questions to get in, and that helps to kind of screen out, spammers and just people who just want to get in the group and clown. But anyway, we're gonna break down the game, 6 points or sometimes more. I got all my six in my head. I started writing them down. Said I don't even need to write them down. I got them all up in my head. But you want to go first, bro? Or you want me to start it off?
Man, I dropped one. I
All
dropped
right.
one. Just
Point number
point
point number one. Point number
point number
one.
point
Key
number one.
to key. Well, I will say keys to victory, but keys to the loss. Why what was point number one why you feel like we lost this game?
We both agreed on this one, and it's not just this game. It's all throughout the season. There's a lack of boxing out. The boys gotta box out when we play small, especially without the big fella. Got to put a body on somebody, and it's a shame. Although that was one of the key contributing factors why they lost, especially in the clutch, where we gave up like 4 offensive rebounds. And
Four.
KJ Martin even attempted a soft box out. But like you said, back when we went to basketball camp together before, in our preteens, you got to box until you secure the ball.
Yeah.
And your team
Yeah.
has possession. He just kind of boxed to be there, didn't know where the ball was at. Bam, got it. Game's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah. We learned that in basketball camp. You hold
Mhm.
a man there. I mean, not literally hold him, but you keep him on your backside, and then you locate the ball, and
Yeah.
then you go get the ball. But you hold him there until, and they just didn't do that. Two critical ones. Jaquez, he snuck in for one. I mean, an easy one. I mean,
For two.
Jaquez got, yeah. And then Highsmith, yeah, Jaquez got two. And then at the very end of the game, Highsmith. And that one was critical because we only down 3 points. We
That
were
was the game.
only down 3 points. So that was actually uh could have put us in position. We got some high quality 3 point shooters. So we could have actually won that game at the end if we would have just done the fundamentals. And I will add this too. Boxing out also goes along with effort. There was just lack of effort, especially on
Absolutely.
that one. Jaquez got, he was right under the basket. And they were just standing there, just watching the ball, missed. He's standing right there. Just they wanted it more. So that's a great point. Point number two for me, defensive effort was lacking tonight. They Miami got a lot of wide open dunks, layups, wide open 3 pointers, and one of the things I put was like there was just the help did not really emerge on the defensive end. A couple times Reed came over and got a good block on the ball, but when Miami, they do a good job of swinging that ball around, man. And it's almost like one of our guys or more will overcommit and leave somebody wide open. So, and they have shooters. So the shooter's wide open and then drive into the lane. The lane was wide open. And Paul Reed is a mixed bag, man, because sometimes he can come up with a good block, but then sometimes he's just non-existent in the paint. Defensively, he's on the floor, but he's just not in position to make a play on the ball as a rim protector. And I would rather a guy who doesn't get a lot of blocks, but is just there to alter shots and is really, really his sole job is to protect the rim. I think Paul Reed kind of leaves that paint a little too far. And when that ball swings around or somebody drives to the basket, he's just not there. So do you have anything to add on point number 2, just overall defensive effort?
Yeah, a lack of it, and we don't have with Melton out. Like I said, with the big fella out, the trades we made, we don't have a lot of defensive stoppers to begin with. So the effort has to ratchet up to another level. And tonight it was average at best, and at times a little below average. But yeah, good point on Paul Reed. He has to be a more consistent presence when it comes to altering shots or blocking shots.
All right, so that's 2 points. Rebounding number 1, defensive effort number 2. What's your third point?
This is something, another point that we've talked about, that again, not just this game, but it's been a consistent theme without, is when Toby is up and down, or let's even go post the Embiid injury. We need 3 consistent scorers that we can rely on. And last game we had it with Oubre, Maxey, and Buddy Love. And
Yeah.
tonight, Oubre was a no call, no show, and you had a few other players, stepping up. Ricky played good. Paul was solid, but we need that third scorer that's going to show up and show out, and a
Yeah.
lack of consistency from the third scorer tonight also hurt.
And the last game, Oubre had over 20 points, and tonight he had 9 points. And so you're right. We need that third consistent score. And what is your, just to add on to that, because Oubre would be that guy. You got Buddy, you got Maxey now, and then it would be Oubre. Obviously, it would be Harris in that mix if Harris was in the game. But with Harris out, it's Oubre. What is your make on Oubre and his inconsistency so far this season?
Well, I've been saying it all season long, especially, not knowing what's up with Embiid. And even when Embiid's there, I just truly believe, and it may not be a good hook to hang our hat on, but I believe that he is a key factor to not just the regular season, our regular season seedings, but where we go in the playoffs. They're going to need him because he's that in-between, mid-range, guy that we typically can count on. But when he's down, or if he's a no-show, or they're not feeding him in the playoffs, I think we're going to struggle. And during the regular season, when he don't perform, I think Six is going to struggle. They need
Yeah.
him as that third or fourth scorer, even when Toby's out there. And it showed tonight. He had an off game, and so went the Sixers.
We need at least 15 from Oubre a night, at least 15. But
Efficiency.
it's like he'll
Efficiency.
go for over 20, and then he'll go for under 10 at
Can't
some
have that.
given night. Yeah, and the shooting has been sporadic.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's point number 3. My point number 4, and this has been my point kind of all season, 3-point shooting. And I've been saying this all season that if the Sixers don't get at least, well, I say over 30%, which is not a great percentage, but anytime they shoot under 30% from the 3-point range, we usually take a loss. Tonight was 28% from the 3-point line, and I'll shout out some notables. Maxey, who is usually stellar from the 3-point line, 2 for 7. Oubre, 0 for 4, and Cam Payne, 0 for 5. Now I'm gonna say this about Cam Payne because my boy, he replaced my dude Pat Bev. So in the first couple games, I was like, okay, I could kind of see. I had the bag on my head and all that. They gave up Pat Bev, but then Cam Payne showed out in the last game. I think he had 15 points. First game he did. So I said, all right, well, he does bring that a little bit of a spark. He's athletic, a little more athletic than Pat. But then tonight, 0 for 5. Cam Payne, only 2 points on 1 for 7 shooting. And I know my boy Pat Bev would have put in more work. So let me stop doing that. It's not fair that I compare them. But the 3-point shooting, we are a team that is heavily reliant on the 3-point shot. That's why in the first half we fared a lot better because Buddy Hield had it going. I mean, he was on fire in the first half from 3. But I did notice an adjustment by Eric Spoelstra, and they put clamps on not only Buddy, but Tyrese Maxey, and they really eliminated that 3-point shot. Just really, Maxey has the ability to drive by you a lot easier than Buddy does, but Buddy really depends on getting that 3-point shot off, and they were really, really put the clamps on him in the second half. And I noticed as soon as the second half started, it said, we're not gonna let Buddy shoot, make another 4 3-pointers on us. Buddy was on pace to score like over 30 points. At the half, he had 17 points, I think 16 or 17, and he ended up with only 22. So he cooled off a lot in the second half due to Miami's defense. So that's my point. Point number 4 is 3-point shooting. So do you have anything to add? 3-point shooting, how important it is to this team?
Have to shoot 40%. They have to be 40%, marksmen's. And tonight, Cam putting up an offer, Oubre put up an offer. Max was, below his season average.
Yeah.
And you nailed it, man. That's going to lead me into my next point. So I won't go into that just yet. But the adjustment they made to take away the only hot 3-point shooter we had was key. But that's what Spo does. That's why they made him the highest paid coach in the league. Halftime adjustment.
Yeah, and Ricky Council, the fourth, 1 for 4, which is 25%. So that didn't really help us either. Although, well, I mean, overall, he played a pretty good game. We'll get to that later. But all right, 3-point shooting. Roll into your next point, number 5.
Point number 5 is, it's time, and I really want to see Nurse step up his play calling to help the Sixers in the mid-range. When the 3 is off, we don't have a low post presence. I want to see some creative play calls to get us something in the mid-range, some pick and rolls to create some easy buckets. It's clear here, every coach is not as good as Spo, but teams are going to start saying, okay, buddy, if you light us up in the first half, the coach is going to say the next time he gets a 3, you're going to sit. That's the type of directive he must have gave. Because when they locked him down, that was it for him. So if that happens going forward, a team say no 3s for Buddy, and Maxey's struggling, can Nurse dial something up? Does he got something in his coaching bag to get us some easy buckets? So the point is, tonight we struggled in that a lack of play calling to get easy buckets. Once they take away the 3, the team struggled in executing high level offense. So, ultimately, I'll leave it with this. Going forward, it hurt us tonight. Can Nurse dial something to get Buddy free? And can he get us some easy buckets, especially when the 3 ball is not falling? Remains to be seen.
And you know what? It seems like for our team, there is no in between. It's either point at the back, they're at the basket, or they're at the 3. And I don't even know who would the mid-range go to be, because I don't see anybody really consistently going and attempting the mid-range. And we know Buddy, if he can hit all those 3s, he probably good from the mid-range too. And I guess Harris would be the only guy comes to mind that really utilizes the mid-range. And Embiid, of course, but he's out. So who's going to be that? If you want Nurse to dial up something, and I agree with you, but who would be the mid-range person?
Well, Buddy surprised me. I didn't know he had a mid-range game, but he's showing some mid-range chops.
Yeah.
Sparingly, but we at least have seen him hit a couple in the mid-range. But first option has to be Toby. Second option has to be Oubre. And then third, which I didn't think Buddy Love was an option, but yeah, he would be the third option. But he has to dial something up in that mid-range for games like tonight. And if he doesn't, there's going to be more winnable games that we're going to lose because we shoot 20-something% from 3. We don't have a post option, and there was nothing to get us anything in like that 10 to 15 foot range.
Yeah, you nailed it on that. And we have, and that could have helped at the end of the game. And that kind of brings me to the 6th point, and we're going to overtime if we need to. But my 6th point, and Maxey had a good game scoring wise with 30 points. Not great from the 3-point line, but overall shooting percentage, he was over 50%. But it's one thing about Maxey is that he has one gear, and when he puts his head down or goes to the basket, it becomes somewhat predictable. I would like for him in the point guard spot to look to penetrate and dish, kick the ball out. He draws, and I made this point, I think the last game 6. he draws a lot of attention going to the basket, but he goes to the basket as if it's either I'm going to make a basket, a tough basket, or I'm going to get fouled. And sometimes neither happens. And either it gets his shot blocked or it turns the ball over, and he draws two, sometimes three defenders. And I know there's opportunities for him to kick the ball and dish to somebody else. And that's the one element of his game that I think, and I think he doesn't utilize it because he's really, to me, not a true point guard, which is why I'm kind of looking to for Kyle Lowry to come in. But I think that that penetrating dish, man, it's like he goes to the basket recklessly and it just doesn't always work out. Sometimes it does. When it does, it looks good with the layups, but I mean the layups, and he contorts and makes those crazy layups. But then when you need that other option, especially when the game's on the line, teams are looking for him to drive, especially when they clamp down on the three and it's opportunities to kick the ball or just dish to somebody down low, but even a Paul Reed for a layup or an easy basket. Do you notice that, or is that just me?
No, without a doubt. And when you look at a player taking the next step in their growth and development, that's his. And hopefully he got enough from being in the backcourt with James where he can begin to become a maestro on the
Mhm.
court. Like say, let me either let me go hard and dish once in a while. Maybe like how James got it, and he'll throw a skip pass, a cross court pass right in the pocket where a guy can catch and shoot. But once he starts going to the rack, I'm trying to think, have I ever seen him penetrate and dump it off? Maybe once or twice. I'm forgetting, but you're right. That one gear, but he has to get that change of pace, drive dish, set my teammates up. Give a little something in the mid range because this is something that I've said for I'm gonna say the last like 2 years since he started his ascension. Is with the
Mhm.
game on the line, Embiid, I mean, the big fella's not there, so I'm not going to say anything negative about him, but I'm just not confident with the game on the line with the ball in Maxi's hands or Embiid's hands.
Yeah.
Embiid is too easy to guard him. He probably shoots 10%, from what I can remember when we really need a bucket because whether the defense collapse or, he wants to shoot an 18-footer instead of going underneath the basket. And Maxi the same way. They
Right.
contest the shot, they stop that hard penetration, and with the game on the line, we're in trouble. We need somebody who can, like a Paul Pierce type, a
Yeah. Oof, the
I'm
truth.
saying a claw type, somebody you can give it to
Yeah.
KD and get it done. And Toby should be that guy. And if it ain't Toby, it'd be nice to see if Oubre can do it. But to your point about Maxi, he has to develop that next facet of his game, or the Sixers, I don't believe, can take that next step.
I don't think so either because it's too predictable. And if
Yep.
you know he's going to drive, you know that he drives to the basket and he's going to go because he's an undersized guard. I mean,
Yep.
undersized to where to NBA standards,
Yeah.
probably a big guy to us, but undersized in terms of they just collapse on him and he doesn't kick it out. Lil said agrees with us, says Oubre is decent shooting mids, but we're right about Maxi, head down and needs to kick the ball out. And it's somebody open every time, man. I'll just be screaming at the television, like, just, kick it, somebody, especially now with Hield. So Hield is waiting, to get a wide open three. So that's the 6 points. I want to go into overtime a little bit because I don't want to talk all negative. That to me was a deflating loss because that was a game that we were home. We should have. Oh, thing came off my bag head. I think we should have won that game. I think we're in position to win it. I don't think Nurse made adjustments at the half. They were doing the same thing in the second half. But one thing I do want to note on a positive note is, and this is the overtime period, the ball movement has gotten a lot better, especially with the addition of Hield. The ball movement, I mean, guys are really, really trusting each other, but maybe in the closing minutes a little bit too much because nobody seemed to want to step up and try to put the game away. But in the first half, they were really moving the ball around a lot, and that is really good fluid offense because the Heat didn't really know who the guy was going to be. And so it ended up being Hield. But then in the second half, it kind of got to be Maxey driving and Maxey and Hield show at the, in the backcourt, and the ball didn't really rotate around a lot. So that's I think that's a good thing that they are learning to play together. Keep in mind they've only had 3 games playing together. So we also had to keep that in mind that Hield and Maxey a few times in the game looked, I don't want to say confused, but they kind of looked like they weren't exactly on the same page. Did you notice that, or was that just me?
Not definitely. Ball movement. It's a refreshing brand of basketball, and it gives us something to look forward to when Embiid comes back. Our MVP comes back. He's still going to be dominant, but is he going to accept a slightly lesser role to preserve life in those knees? And will the ball still pop when he's even in the game? And if
Yeah.
we can, continue to move the ball like tonight, that's definitely a good point to highlight. And find that mix of dominance with good ball movement, and that's a formula for success.
Yeah, I agree with you. Some more positives, just Buddy Hield first half was on fire. Do you think that the offense should shift a little bit between Maxey and Hield? Maxey maybe doing a little bit less. Not effort wise, obviously, but sharing the ball in the backcourt a little bit, which he's not really used to doing because he's playing alongside Melton, who is primarily a defensive player. And also, when Melton was injured, playing alongside Pat Bev in the backcourt, and Maxey's used to dominate in the backcourt. What do you think about Maxey and Hield and how that might alter Maxey's contributions in the backcourt?
Well, as far as shot distribution, I believe it's perfect. Where it's at. Just again, a looming concern is Maxey can still get his, but if everyone follows Spoelstra's second half game plan, what's that going to do to Hield if he's
Mhm.
given more of an opportunity to be to carry a heavier load? So, but where it's at right now, he's getting his shot attempts. He's been in the teams every game. Maxey trusts him, as much as he's trusted any backcourt mate. So I like the distribution now. I'm just hoping that it can actually stay where it's at when teams put those clamps up. Ken Nurse, again, one of our points, run some brush screens for him, some down screens, some double picks to frame him
Yeah.
up. He don't need much time, and he don't
Right.
need much space.
Yeah. 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 Well, that is the 646 for tonight. M- I'm your boy Creek Creek, and got my brother John Jervy. We coming
Yes,
up on All-Star Weekend, and I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm so happy to see All-Star Weekend get here because number one, it just gives me a break because
sir.
this has been a roller coaster of a season, but also it gives our guys some rest.
Mhm.
Reportedly, after the All-Star break, we should be getting back a good chunk of our players. I believe Harris, I believe Melton, and I believe Batum all coming back after the All-Star break. So shout out to Tyrese Maxey, who is going to be competing in the skills challenge, I think. Also, obviously he's a participant in an All-Star game, but I think he's also going to be in the skills challenge. And I'm trying to think, do we have anybody else doing anything All-Star weekend?
Former Sixer Mac McClung is
Mac,
going to try to defend his title.
Mac. We gonna still claim Mac, at least like they did last year, just for one night though.
For one night.
Yeah, but he's not going. Where is Mac? Do you know where Mac is now?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think, is he still in the G League? I don't even know.
Yeah, they kind of used Mac last year. I was telling
Did
people,
they?
they were like, "Oh, we need to put Mac in." Mac, like, nah, they threw that Sixer uniform because Mac was in the G League. He wasn't really even on the regular squad, and then they threw that on him. But Mac, I'm wishing Mac. Oh, Lil said he thinks he's in Orlando. So, but he's not playing. So, shout out to Mac McClung. I guess we're gonna root for you since you were the closest thing that we had, to the slam dunk champ. Any more points to add, brother, before we get off? Anybody on the chat? Any points to add before we roll out of here?
That's it. I guess we can leave it to the chat, man. See if somebody else want to share a closing overtime point to take us out of here.
Lil said you got an overtime point, man. You seem to be the only one on the chat tonight. Oh man. Lil said came with the dagger. All right,
Yeah.
let's address that. He said Mo Bamba is becoming unplayable. I'm gonna just ask you this: agree, disagree?
In our current state, I have to disagree because we need size and length behind Paul Reed. If when a big fella comes back, he's unplayable. But our current state, we have to play him.
He has to play, right? Because
Yeah,
Reed has to rest at some point.
yeah,
And
yeah.
without Reed there, who's we don't even have Marcus Morris anymore. So who would be the next player? You know what I mean? Like you can't I don't know. I guess Harris will be our next big or Batum say you can't play them. There's literally nobody else out there, which is why I was upset and why I was wearing the bag after the trade because we got no big. We want, we could have even picked up Lopez off waivers. He's a I think he's more serviceable than Mo Bamba. But I will say this in Bamba's defense, Bamba is suffering from knee pain. I posted that a couple days ago. So he said he's playing through it. But I agree with you. We have to go with Mo Bamba because there is nobody to back up Paul Reed. Um Set Martin Moore in the dunking spot. Hope I don't get your name wrong. Bong Lata. Set Martin Moore in the dunking spot.
But how does that address the five? Like he's in a dunker spot now, playing a four. So I don't know if he's saying play him at the five. Or he's just saying get him more tick in a dunker spot. But yeah, he excels there. I like that little who was it? Somebody. It was Paul Reed gave him the nice
Yeah.
little pass to the baseline. He went up
Yeah,
from the
and he
dunker
rose
spot.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and banged it.
Yeah, but he's not
I
he's
agree.
not that big of a guy though. What is he like 6'5", 6'6", maybe?
Yeah, right around in that
Yeah, but
range.
he can't carry the center spot. I mean, when you playing against Giannis Antetokounmpo and big, really big guys, he's just not gonna do it. So he said alley oop. Yeah, he did finish strong tonight. I mean, he rose up, and I was shocked when he rose up. Against what was the guy's name? Jovic.
Yeah.
Jovic. Yeah, so he rose up, but he's not a center. I will say KJ Martin is doing a lot. He's since Harris has been out. He is kind of making his way a little bit, but I just don't see him being a replay backing up Paul Reed when Paul Reed comes. It has to be Mo Bamba. But I do think Nurse limited Bamba's minutes tonight. Let me see how many minutes Bamba had. Bamba had 9 minutes. So you see right there, Nurse is just like, let me just give Paul Reed a couple breaths and get him back in the game. Paul Reed played almost 40 minutes tonight, you know. And yeah, you're right. We should have gotten a big. We got like an overloaded, man, our whole team changed. We got like 30, we got like half the team is guards now.
Yeah,
And
they,
then we
they-
got Paul, and then we got Kyle Lowry coming in, another guard.
another guard.
So we
Does
got
anybody know? I know you and I talked about it, and maybe somebody that's online now can tell us what is the official ruling on whether they can claim twin in the buyout market. I'm hearing half the people saying they can't because Indiana submitted it as a three team trade. Then I'm hearing another half saying we can get him back because Indiana, who we trading to, is not the last team that cut him. San Antonio is. I'm hearing
yes.
half the fan base saying one thing, half the fan base saying another thing. Derek Bonder said we actually can, but
Okay.
maybe he was speaking, prematurely before he knew it was submitted as a three-team trade. But does anybody know what's the official ruling on that? 'Cause I would love to get Twin back, even to give him 15 minutes at the five
All
over
right,
Bond.
Lil said he thinks Minnesota signed him. It might be a rumor, but that's what he thinks. So I don't know. But to answer your question, I thought, and I could be wrong, because that's where I fall short. Like, I can do the basketball knowledge, the game analysis, but all of that, the CBA, and I gotta read up on all that stuff,
Yeah.
what the rules are. But as far as I know, they can get him back because he was traded to the Pacers. Then the Pacers traded him to San Antonio, and San Antonio was actually the team that released that waived him. So I think because of that, it went to another party. I think they can, but maybe they don't want him back. I don't know.
Must be. I don't understand that because we're light up front, and maybe he's just saying, you know what? I don't want to say he's tanking the season because he's not tanking clearly, but you need some bigger bodies, and he's
Yeah.
a capable, big that can score on the block and from the perimeter, and he could at least even give us some spot minutes until Embiid gets back. But if we can get him, I don't understand what the holdup is. So maybe we can.
I don't know, and I don't get it. And I can't even get into it. I am planning a 6 for 6 on Daryl Morey, and it's going to be balanced. I asked the group what they thought about Morey. It's going to be balanced because I have a balanced opinion of Daryl Morey, but I don't always understand the moves. I don't understand the guard heavy trades campaign, and you gave up a big in Morris for Buddy Hield, and I like Buddy Hield, but then we gave up a big body, and now we just getting dominated rebounding. We're getting dominated on in the paint. I mean, a lot of interior scoring, and it just teams just don't really respect. Like what have happened tonight if Morris was there, that probably doesn't happen. I mean, those lack of boxing out and getting rebounds down in the paint. I think Morris would have been able to secure those, and definitely Embiid would have been a big body down there to either rebound, box out, alter shots, and we just don't have it. So I don't know if that means that they're tanking the season, that they didn't try to get a big body just to hold us down until Embiid comes back. I don't know if it means Embiid's not coming back and they know he's not coming back. Somebody brought that up online that they know Embiid's not coming back, but they want to keep the fans coming in or keep the fans hopeful, but they know internally that he's not going to return. I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, it makes sense. Why go out and try to, build a championship roster this year and put a band-aid on it if you know he's not coming back? And I guess we're gonna find out come like April maybe. If he's not back by April 1st, then we know it's very unlikely he's going to come back.
Yeah, and that's the thing is what they were saying online was, oh, they're going to stretch it out. We'll they'll reevaluate up until there is no more, like he's not going to return. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm a fan for life. I know
Yes, sir.
you are too. We
Yes,
grew
sir.
up Sixer fans. We've been waiting for a title. I don't know. We'll see. I hold on to hope, man. I mean, we've shown some promise. We're not going to win a title without Joel Embiid, so we already know that. But I think if this group of guys can gel together, Healed, Harris, Maxey, and Oubre in particular, I think we can make some noise. We definitely could have won tonight even without the players that we had out. So this is the 6 for 6er podcast, Brother Creek Creek. Remember, like, share, subscribe. And we need next time, man, we need to get some more people up in here. You know what I mean? Maybe we get 6 people, everybody get a point, and we just chop it up. So you can email me at the 6for6ers at gmail.com. I'll post it in the group. Any last points, brother, before we roll out of here?
That's it, man. Good podcast tonight. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. And we're gonna try to do these lives whenever we can, because I like the lives. And when I do the lives, I'm not typing anything up because we just did our 6. But anyway, this 6for 6er podcast, Brother Creek Creek, John Jervy. Peace out until next time. Peace.